So you're saying I'm not a professional rapper yet?
You might have to have a few more Christmases and birthdays behind you.
I see. Guys, I gotta work on my skills here. Hey, welcome to Smart AF. I'm your host, Torie Mathis. We have got a great show for you today, so let's get started. Hey guys, welcome to the show. I'm Torie Mathis, your host, and this is the one and only Sean Mathis. Hello. Founder of Miles Through Time Automotive Museum. So this Christmas, I had the kids wrapping their own presents. Not presents for them, presents for the other kid. And Riley did awesome. You went shopping with Riley and got a few things for me. And he went and grabbed all the stuff that he needed, and he went up to his room and he wrapped it all himself. And he came down and it was crazy. He didn't take the Scotch tape. He took the packing tape and he just wrapped it. But you know what? It was wrapped. It had bows on it. He wrote the to and from. It was wrapped. And Bella made fun of him. Talked about how crappy it was. She kept talking about how crappy it was. But I was like, you can't compare Riley's rapping with my rapping. He's a kid. This is the first year that he actually wrapped all this stuff himself.
It's not easy.
And you know what? We sat down when him and I went shopping for you and Bella. Him and I sat down and he was like, well, how do you do it like that? And I showed him some of my little tricks and he rapped some. Man, from that first time he went up there to the last ones that he rapped, crazy different. You know how much better Bella got? She didn't get better at all. You know why? She didn't even try. She was like, I'll write the tags and I'll put the bows on. And she didn't even want to do it this year. So he was the one that was willing to do it, willing to not compare himself to somebody that's obviously older and has been doing it a lot longer. You can't do that. It doesn't work. You can't compare your scenario to someone else's scenario because you don't know where they've been, what they've done, the experience level they're coming in with. Even if the two of us were the same, you and I are similar ages and you couldn't even compare your rapping to my rapping. That would be stupid. Why? You, one thing, don't care. Me, I do. Right. Yeah. That's two total things right there. Yeah. And so just in that, I've wrapped a shit ton of presents. Presents for in high school, all my friends' parents, that wanted stuff wrapped. Because they didn't want to wrap it, I'll wrap anything. I loved it. I thought it was great. It's all neat and orderly and make it pretty.
That's why I married you, because you're a rapper.
Because I'm a rapper. I'm the best.
Better than the rest.
That's right. Yo. I see this with business too. It drives me crazy. You know why? Because people look at marketing and they see what other people are doing and they're like, oh, that's easy. I'm just going to do exactly that. You guys, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way at all. Because what you see on the outside is not everything that's going on. There's so much else. We talked about the damn crazy print job that the client tried to design themselves, and they designed it with some, I don't know, they might have designed it in Word. I don't know, but it didn't work because they don't know all the things that are involved to make a file print ready. It's very easy to say, oh, that's so easy to do, but you can't compare yourself or what you're doing by just looking at the outside of somebody. We watched that Michael Jordan movie. Did you guys watch that? It was a series. That was good.
It was on Netflix. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was really good. It makes you Michael Jordan, best basketball player arguably ever. Lots of good basketball players, really good basketball players. But watching what Michael Jordan went through to get to the level that he was at, and he wasn't born that way. It makes you question, do I even want to be that good at basketball? His whole lifestyle was formed specifically around becoming that good. And it doesn't have to be that extreme on certain things, but it's a really good example of, two different basketball players, both are good, but the one cannot be compared to the other. You don't know. I mean, shoot, they could both be the exact same perfect basketball player, but the one guy's 1 year older, which means he's got one more year of practice.
What were you talking about that with the kids? Was that basketball? You were saying that kids that were a different age because of when their birthday was. Do you remember telling me that?
That
was
that? Oh man, that was a book. The guy that researches everything that
Malcolm
Gladwell book. Couldn't tell you what the name of the book is.
Outliers?
That's it. Holy cow. What you want to tell the rest of the story?
No, you listen to the audiobook. I think
Oh, you're not supposed to tell it. I read the book with my ears.
So I have not read it yet. I have it on the bookshelf, but it takes me a little while longer to get through.
The gist of it was that, players, I think he was talking hockey specifically, a lot of it, they all start at a certain age, but based on initially when they're in, I don't remember what he called it. I think of baseball, so like Pee Wee League, right? They're at a certain age, and there's an age gap there at the beginning where, depending on where they were born in the years, they're cut off on the month. So kids that are towards the end of that cutoff are older, essentially, right? Even though they're the same age, but depending on what part of the year that is, they are older. And at certain ages, it's not that big of a deal. But then again, at other ages, when they start to hit puberty and all these kind of things that line up with that particular sport, that they end up being the bigger kid because they've hit that puberty or whatever the case may be. So they're a little bit taller, they're a little bit faster, they're a little bit more mature. And so the coaches pick up on those kids more frequently than the kids that are the younger, immature ones that haven't developed as far. And so right off the gate, they're groomed, and they're grooming these kids that are in the specific age group that then follows them throughout their entire career as they're continually groomed, because they're constantly that bigger one. And then they've gotten so much extra practice and training and experience that now the age and size doesn't even matter. It's the fact that they have so much more experience doing it, that the other kid that didn't get that extra practice and training and attention, they can't even compete anymore. And so by the time they got to the professional league of it, like the data, like they were all born in the same portion of the year, like all of them. And that's simply because they were groomed that way from the beginning.
So you could actually look at people like the same age, and one of them went pro and one of them didn't, and you can't compare that because you don't know that whole other backstory. Like, that's crazy. Like, so everybody that went pro, they're pretty much all born on that same
part of the year.
Wow, that's crazy.
And I mean, it's the kid that was on the younger spectrum at the beginning, if he would have been given the same opportunity for that extra training, there's nothing that says that they couldn't have done it. It's just they didn't. And so, I mean, like that 10,000 hours to be an expert on stuff, like if you want to be really good, but you've only got 5,000 hours, you are not going to be as good as somebody with 10,000 hours. It's not going to happen across the board for everything. There's tons of studies out there for it. Like you're not. And there was another one where I think it was, the music industry. I don't remember what instrument it was specifically, but they had professionals and people that were just hobbies that were playing these instruments. And the thing was that they were all good, but only the ones that were really good had that over 10,000 hours worth of practice. Like none of them were the elite that didn't have that much time in it.
So you're saying I'm not a professional rapper yet?
Oh, you might have to have a few more Christmases and birthdays behind you.
Let's see. Guys, I gotta work on my skills here. I know Michael Phelps is another one with that just has that's all he did, right? So it's not like, he, swam, like that was his life. was swimming.
And in that, like, his body shape was ideal for swimming, and that just happened to work out in his favor. You know, he was tall with long arms and short legs.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, because that was, again, another book that I read with my ears talked about that. There was another guy, I don't remember his name either, but same height as Michael Phelps, and he's an Olympic runner. Except the runner's legs much longer than Michael Phelps, right? So it's the waist is at a different height altogether, where the runner could never swim as efficiently as Michael Phelps just because his body wasn't built the same. And just the same, Michael Phelps is not a runner. His short little legs and that tall upper body isn't going to make him ever as good of a runner as the other guy, even though they're the exact same height. So, I mean, there's a lot of different things that you have to take into consideration that there's no point in ever comparing yourself. You can strive to be like somebody and but that's pretty much where it stops. Otherwise, you're just hurting yourself for no reason. I will never be as good as Torie.
At rapping. This is true. This is true. I see a lot of people in business wanting to do, it's usually like Facebook stuff. Like they want to do these same funnels that people have. Like, so, having an ad and like selling their product. But they just like see an ad and then they see that, they have bought the product or, whatnot. And they see like, oh, this person is doing so much in sales. And we have somebody else that talking about like growing Facebook groups and stuff like that. They have such a big group, but you can't compare where you're at when you're first starting to this person that you don't know how much money they've spent on ads or anything like that. To get that group to where it's at or to get that many sales, how long they've been working, it's easy to see that overnight success. And it seems like so cliche, but then like the more you actually see it like actually happening, you're like, wow, like that stupid cliche is true. Like it does look like they, overnight happened. But you don't know all that stuff that went into it. Years and years of working so hard doing this, like Michael Jordan, putting in longer hours than anybody else, more time, stuff that people didn't see, things that nobody saw, and having all those stars aligned, making all those stars align.
Comparing to like billionaires and really high up there millionaires, like I don't know if I want to be a billionaire with the amount of crap that they have to deal with. I can only imagine, like they're constantly being sued, right, for one thing or another. Like I doubt there's a whole lot of free time there because to make that much money, you've got so much responsibility that I'd rather just make what we need to have the lifestyle that we'd want.
Well, we've talked about that though. Like we talked about, if us 15 years ago got dropped into where we're at now, like we couldn't do what we're doing right now because we don't have the experience that got us here, right?
Right.
So, in the thing of a billionaire, it's not the fact that you have that money, it's the person that you became to allow you to have that money, right? When I was young, I wanted to be a lawyer. And then I got in high school and stuff like that. And I started to take a few law classes. I did some competitions, like this trial competition stuff. And actually, once I learned more about it, I'm like, that's not the lifestyle that I want. I don't want to have to get, I don't want to become that person that, has to work those types of hours or has, it's like, I wouldn't want to be a doctor either. I don't want to work those types of hours and have those types of shifts and go through that in order to get there. Like you have to realize
Jeff Bezos would have opened Amazon like it is today, right out the gate. It probably would have completely flopped. If you'd have spent all that money to build that infrastructure, there wouldn't be any products in there, right? Because all the different sellers and everything. Nobody would care. Nobody'd pay for TV through the internet. That'd be crazy. But people look at him now and they're like, well, Amazon, it's, buy anything store online. But I mean, he went through all kinds of stuff to get there that like literally only his experience would lead him on that path. Even like Elon Musk.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
I'm sure there's a lot of Elon Musk fans. Probably unhealthy fans, if you ask me. Like, I'm an Elon Musk fan, but not like that. He is unique, man. You can't say, well, I'd be just like Elon Musk if I had all his money. Like he only has his money because he's Elon Musk.
Right. Went through that stuff and those experiences and had those quirks that, is willing to go through what it takes to get there.
Yeah. I mean, he and I know enough about myself that I am not probably like Elon Musk in a lot of ways. That means I'd probably not be like him if I went down that route, but I'm cool with that. It's cool to launch rockets and have that goal to go to Mars and all that kind of stuff, but would I have done it? Probably not. I think it's awesome that he is, though.
Well, it's easy to look at, like we said, the outside of it and see what he did, not everything that went into it. Warren Buffett is the same way, looking at what he's done and what he's amassed, but it takes a certain type of person and it takes a lot of skill to go into there. I was telling Riley about, I think he reads like half the day. I think Bill Gates does too. Like these people don't just know stuff, just magically. Like they're constantly learning and constantly, like it takes that kind of person to be able to process that kind of information to be smart enough to make decisions to make that kind of money. You're just like, it takes Michael Jordan doing, a bazillion free throws and to get to where he can do it,
And sometimes you got to make the wrong decision before you even realize what the right decision would have been.
Yes, the wrong decision usually has to be made in order to get to the right decision, in order to get those skills, right? Figure those things out. And again, we always talk about like you can't plan for all this kind of stuff. There's no way. You've got to kind of just work through it and figure out what happens, because Jeff Bezos couldn't have planned exactly where he's going to be. Just like Elon Musk probably didn't either. I don't know his whole backstory, but when he was making PayPal, I don't think he thought, I'm going to have a sports car and launch rockets. Like somewhere along the line, he kind of decided that, but I don't think, 20, 25 years ago, that was exactly his plan.
But the thing is even if it was, like he had to be able to do something to start building that pile of money to be able to do the other things that he wanted to do. He wasn't able to just be like, I'm going to go out there and build rockets and electric cars and change the infrastructure of the world with car chargers. So it was PayPal, and he was able to build, that pile of money from that to be able to do stuff. Again, how do you compare yourself to somebody like that? It's impossible. Like you're not going to go be able to create your own money processing company and then go and create some other boring company and then some other electric car company and then create your own rocket like you did. No, you can't think that way, no matter how much you find yourself in love with Elon Musk. So
it's easy though. You were talking about a couple of videos ago, like parenting. There's no handbook for parenting because every kid is different. Like every situation, our personality, there's so much going on. And so, yes, you said, there is a handbook, but that's what worked for them, not what's necessarily going to work for you. So you can't read one thing and think, right, that's exactly what I'm going to do and hope that it, think that it's going to turn out exactly the same, because it's not. That's why there's lots of parenting books and lots of diet books and lots of all these things, because everything doesn't work for every single person, but that's what makes it cool. That's what makes it better. So yeah, figure out what you need to, but you have to go on your own journey in order to get to whatever your destination's going to be. And who knows what it's going to be.
Yeah, look for inspiration. But that's it. Like you don't need to look to strive to be exactly like anybody.
It's not going to work. Never does. Plus, you gotta find your own style. That's where style comes in, and that's what makes all these people like so neat and so different. Is that they have that whatever it is that makes them them. Yeah, there's a bunch of basketball players, but man, like each one has their own thing that makes them cool. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like even though they're good, like Shaq is so different than Jordan was.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Bezos is so different than Elon is. And even though like they're both billionaires, or like there's just stuff that they have their own style of what they're doing, and you got to find your own style out. You can't just try to copy somebody else's style and think that that's going to get you where you need to go, because it's not. You got to go through that journey yourself.
It's all about the journey.
So if you like this video, why don't you subscribe to our channel? We'd appreciate it, and we'll see you in the next one. If you want to get smart tools to build your business, go to besmartaf.com.